Hello and welcome back to the bakery. I'm your host, Team Rosemary, aka Zach Warlock, and joining me is my co-caster for the evening, Tiny Turtle. Turtle, how you doing, bro?
Doing pretty good.
I'm excited for the night, man. We got some fun matches, as we always do, but we got a little extra something spicy for the evening. Game 1 is going to be a live match. We're going to see Tater Tots going up against Camp Autumn. But then match 2 is going to be a VOD playback from the night prior. And it is going to be a very spicy game of Camp Autumn versus Neon Guard. And not just that the two teams are playing each other, but I was told that the draft was very, very spicy. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the teams have cooked up. But I think we're waiting on the players to slowly hop into the lobby here while we're kind of building this out. So we'll just kind of wait on that for a little bit. And then after the VOD playback, we'll have a third match that'll be live once again. That'll be Neon Guard versus Camp Autumn, I believe. Or no, it'll be Neon Guard versus Tilted Tater Tots. Neon Guard and Camp Autumn is game 2. So we'll actually see all three of these teams each fight one another in effectively a small Swiss match, all back to back. So it'll be pretty entertaining, and it's gonna be relevant because this is Super Week. For those of you guys who aren't keeping up with the Loafland Tournament of Champions, you haven't seen any of these streams or VODs before. We are in Super Week this weekend, so this is going to be the first featured game of Super Week, and we are wrapping up our series as we've been going on through the normal playthrough in Swiss, and we're about to go into playoffs in the Gauntlet next weekend. So with that, let's take a look at our standings going into Super Week. We have a few matches that we're going to be playing, as some teams have 2 matches, some teams have 3, and I believe one team has 4 that they might have to play, although I think that's been dropped down to 3. Just depends on how many teams have already been able to kind of play some of their matches or not. But going into the current standings for what we have walking into Super Week, Camp Autumn, one of the teams that are going to be featured here tonight, are currently undefeated, and they're only undefeated team at 7-0. Puffy Poro at 6-1. Moist Chalupas and Gangspank both coming in at 5-2. Next to see the Alphas Digitown, both at 4-3. Jax's Daycare Service at 3-4. Neon Guard at 2-5, tied with Camtars at 2-5. And finally, Tilted Tater Tots at the very bottom of the bracket, 1-6. So we are literally looking at the very top bracket and the very bottom going head-to-head in this current matchup. If that's not a skewed betting rule, I don't know what is. I think Turtle died.
Yes. It has been a minute since I've had some coffee, and my brain is slowly coming out of the ASMR-induced Minecraft mining that I've been doing for the past 5 hours. You're gonna have to give me a minute before thoughts start to happen in my head.
Well, what I want to talk about while we're waiting on the game to load up is what this Super Week means for some of these teams. Because as we move into playoffs next weekend, the playoffs are going to involve all the teams that are still participating thus far, except for the bottom 2 teams. Bottom 2 teams will be eliminated. And because of that, we are going into the Gauntlet. So the lower bracket will consist of the bottom 5 teams that are left, and the upper bracket will be the top 4 teams that are left. And you are going to have to survive through the Gauntlet. The lower bracket is single elimination, upper bracket is double. And if you make it all the way to the end, you are successfully in the finals. It's not as simple as it may sound. It is not just good enough to be in the upper bracket and not just good enough to avoid lower, because it also involves the seeding, and it involves how many games you'll have to play through the bracket in order to succeed. So the difference between first and second is actually very relevant. The difference between fourth and fifth is extremely relevant, so on and so forth. You actually really need to have each win under your belt that you realistically can get for your team. All that said, both these teams, even though they are so far wide that they are never going to cross paths immediately within the Gauntlet, it definitely is still relevant for both of them, because if Camp Autumn drops a game here, then that puts them tied with Puffy Poro. And if Tilted Tater Tots can win a game here, that puts them tied with Camtars, meaning that it now comes down to their tiebreakers after the fact, or the potential rest of the results here in Super Week. So each game matters, and I really want to stress that because as we're watching these teams and we kind of mentally picture, well, one's undefeated, one's at the very bottom of the bracket. One, these team skill levels really aren't as far off as you might initially think. Every time we feature Tilted Tater Tots on the stream here, we've seen some very, very close matches and some very, very strong comeback plays. So I never want to count their team out. And two, we've seen Camp Autumn also, even though they've won all their matches that we've featured so far, they have had their backs against the wall in more than one of them. And so they are definitely gods that bleed. They definitely have some chinks in the armor that can be exploited, and I'm hoping that Tilted Tater Tots is able to put a good dent in that armor and maybe even crack it outright, pull themselves out of a win, and get themselves into playoffs next weekend. That's my hope. I guess I'm monologuing.
I just don't really got too much to say. Like, it's very much just, statements. That these are facts. Like,
Okay.
it's hard to have an opinion on these things. It's like very factual, right? I'm very excited to see how well some people perform in these like longer strings of matches. Because I know one of the things that's like really tested in like best of fives is not just like your ability to play at a higher level, but it's to be able to maintain it, right? Because a lot of people can just spam solo queue for hours and hours on end, but they're just like starting to autopilot at one point or another. Whereas I think autopiloting would be punished pretty severely in a competitive environment.
Certainly. Yeah, and that is one of the downsides of a super week as well, is a lot of the players have decided that due to scheduling, they'd rather just play all their matches back to back with different teams. So you have a bunch of teams that are running 2-3 matches straight, and it's already difficult enough to play multiple matches in a competitive environment against the same team. I think it's even more challenging when you're doing different teams, because now you're not only practicing and strategizing, planning your draft, etc. for a team, you're doing it for 2, maybe even 3 teams in a row. So the amount of homework that you have to do as a team if you want to succeed is so much higher than just are you average best of 3 or best of 5. And so I think there's a little bit of an extra mental strain that comes from that. Or you just ride by the seat of your pants the entirety of the way through. You improv your drafts while you're in there, and everyone kind of shrugs their shoulders with, I don't know, what do you want to play? And then you end up with some sloppy team comps, which can cost you the game outright. So not the strategy I would recommend, but it is a weird trade-off where you have to decide, do you want the homework and the mental strain prior to the match, or do you want it during the match? Or even post-match when you're sad about your defeat because you and your team played very sloppily and had no strategy walking into the match.
Fair. That is fair.
Yeah, and the other team that we're going to be featuring later on is going to be Nyangard. They will be in the next 2 matches after this one. And they're in a very similar boat with Camtars and Tilted Tater Tots. They really only need 1, maybe 2 wins to really move themselves up and solidify them in their stay in the bracket. And so, once again, we talk about all these teams wanting to have strong victories in each one of their matches, as of course everyone does. But for them, I feel like it adds a little bit extra because at the end of the day, if Camp Autumn drops a game or 2, they're still making it to playoffs and pretty handsomely. They're still in the upper bracket. They might be fighting for the first place seed rather than the second place seed, but realistically, they're comfortable. It is a little more difficult for Nyangard and Tilted Tater Tots here tonight because they are actually fighting for their chance to be in the playoffs in the first place. And that is going to be extremely difficult if you have to go back to your teammates and say, sorry, guys, we tried.
That'd definitely be disappointing, especially considering how long the tourney has been going on. It's been like about 3 months, I think, give or take. Or it feels like
Yeah,
it's been that
it's
long.
definitely been a while. We are on is it week 9 or week 8?
Yeah, we're going on 2 months then.
Yeah, and we're even going a little further than that if you count the free agent showcase and the initial draftings of the teams and all of that. 'Cause that was about 2 or 3 weeks prior to the actual official tournament start. So
There was also that 1v1 thing that people tried to organize.
the 1v1.
Yeah, what Adila off, something like that. I don't think it. I think it kind of fell through, but that was
I don't remember that at all. I do remember us doing the arena tournament a little while back, but that was back in like March.
yes. Uh, these guys are not gonna stream the draft, are they?
They are. Well, for game two, you mean the the VOD one?
No, the game one.
Game one, they will be, yeah. So we'll be looking at their draft live.
Awesome. How many teams do you think are gonna end up just double banning? Like once the best of five start to happen?
Like, what do you mean double? Like double banning like a specific player?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
Like,
think that's very likely.
like a good example would be like people like Satchel who have like wicked crazy champion pools, where you have like a general idea what his preferred champs to play are, and you're like, okay, I don't really want to play against that, and then he'll pop off the first game, and you're like, okay, we don't want to deal with that a second time, you know, that kind of deal.
Yeah. I think I definitely think Whited, the ADC for Camp Autumns, ends up taking up a lot of bans because he has a very natural play style that he likes to go towards. He loves those like scaling ADCs, the ones where you can kind of play it safe, just win through little small transactions in lane, but you'll always be relevant in the mid to late game. He loves things like Jinx, Smolder, Zeri, those kinds of picks. I do think someone like Ava, Satchel in the mid lane, he's really tough to ban out because his champ pool is so wide and he doesn't have a natural play style. He is he's an ADC on his as his main account, and so there is a little bit of the like natural thing for him to like want to play ADCs in the mid lane. We've seen that quite a lot. He's played Ezreal mid, he's played Zeri mid, he attempted to play Aphelios mid, but at the same time, he's also shown he's proficient on tons of other champions. I've seen him play LeBlanc, he's played Sylas, I've seen him play Ari, so he's got these terror picks, like these control mages, these wave clearers. So like I feel like your natural desire might be to ban out some ADCs that kind of fit both of their bills, but then he's just gonna slam something like Sylas, and you've basically just wasted 3 or 4 bans.
Oh, something's in the chat.
Yeah, the team is legal, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
I think he's referring to the fact that Autumn is now in bronze rather than what she started in iron.
I thought they had the 2 3 point leeway, don't they?
They do. I think Kenda is just delusional.
That is a way of saying it. Could you stream the draft so I could see it too?
I would love nothing more.
Because at the moment, I am looking at the stream from Twitch.
Yeah, no, you definitely need to see the unfiltered stream like I am.
God damn it.
I don't need you on a half second, full second delay because there's like lag between Twitch and Discord, or like you're looking at it's just too much.
Yeah, the I'm looking at the client chat. Yeah.
Yo, and we got some friends in Twitch chat. Xerxes, what's up? Paratree, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Turtle, you got a shout out too.
Hey, Xerxes.
Yeah, if I'm called to be an actual ref, I will be happy to step in and speak on some stuff. But there's also you have to look at the sheets of how the players have been labeled when the tournament was officially locked in. So, for example, Wydid as their ADC is currently listed as Diamond 2. That's his flex rank, but his solo queue rank is like Plat to Plat 3. And so we averaged it out and called him an Emerald ADC because his ability to play with a team is really well, but he really relies on certain teammates in order to achieve that Diamond Master tier elo. So you have other things like are we moving? No, never mind. Ren is their top laner. I'm silly. But you have like a second hero known in the Discord as Ren. He's Emerald 3, but his solo queue rank is Gold. I think he's hit Plat before, but on average he's a Gold level player, and he only has Emerald because of Flex, where he got carried by his Master tier friend, who is currently in the mid lane. And so you have things like that where we have to be honest with ourselves and say second hero, as much as we like the guy, he is not an Emerald level player, or at least not from what we've seen. And so the teams were adjusted accordingly. And then you have someone like Autumn, who I believe started as an Iron player, is currently Bronze. I haven't really kept up with her solo queue grind, so I'm just going to give her the credit that she's genuinely attained Bronze 2. She's got 115 games, so she's clearly working on something.
She has been putting in work. Yesterday's game that she played, the second it finished, she instantly jumped into a solo queue game. She has been in the trenches, my man, and does not leave.
Hey, I respect being on the grind. I personally have, well, I don't know the exact amount, but I probably have like 100, 150 something games in Flex right now, because it is actually on the horizon for me to attain Diamond. Now, it won't feel as exciting as it would be to achieve it in solo queue, so I haven't given up on the solo queue grind yet. But it has been a fun experimentation to see if grinding Flex is genuinely easier, even if you're doing most of the games solo. Like, as far as the amount of games I've played in Flex, I would say like 75-80% of them have been like just me playing solo queue. And only like maybe 20%-ish, 25% are like, with like a pre-made stack of friends or something. And so like it's been a fun ride going from like, I think it was like Gold or like high Silver in Flex because I never touched the game mode, and getting to Emerald 4 within like a 30-40 games, and then now slowly getting my way to Diamond. It's gonna be an exciting journey. So I totally vibe with the ranked grind of, especially when you're gaining elo like Autumn seems to be. It's like intoxicating. You're like, well, I can't stop now. I'm about to get silver. I can't stop. Then I might be getting silver 3 next week. And you just
Dopamine hits be hitting.
Yeah, you just want to keep going. I love playing until I plateau, and then I love grinding my wheels, convincing myself that I can keep going.
Since you've been doing like a lot of flex queue on your own, and obviously have a bunch of experience doing solo queue, do you feel like the different game modes test different things in players, or do you think they're just basically the same thing?
I think if you play flex mode by yourself, it didn't seem all too different from playing regular solo queue. The only thing I really felt was different is I felt like when a player gets flamed, it's usually multiple people all flaming them at the exact same time, which really just proves to me that there's like a 3 stack in Discord, like, all talking about, it's obviously this support's fault, and then you have 3 people like simultaneously flame the support out of nowhere, and you're just like, yeah, y'all are in a Discord call. So I see a lot of that in Flex, especially from going solo. I think as a 5 stack though, it definitely it tests a lot more of your team ability more than your individual player ability, because in solo queue you actually can win a game by just going 3-0 and 4-0 in your lane. But in Flex, it's a lot harder to do that, especially as a 5 stack, because the enemy team is actually running as a unit if they're good. And so like if you get caught out in a bush trying to ward something you shouldn't be warding, or thinking you got a pick, you're gonna go clear, fight the mid laner 1v1. That 1v1 turns into a 1v4, 1v5 really quickly.
Very true.
And it looks like we're moving ourselves into Champ Select. We'll get everything loaded up here. Let's see where what team Tilted Tater Tots is planning on doing with this draft. They elected to go to blue side. They actually chose blue side for both the matches they'll be playing live tonight.
Uh,
which tells me that they have something they want to prio pick. They are really interested in getting a first pick rather than trying to counter pick with something at the very end of the draft. So I'll be excited to see what they are so excited about playing first off. And we see some ADCs already kind of getting banned out. Tilted Tater Tots doing what most teams have elected to do, which is ban out the ADC. Why did? He's very good, and his picks are very scary, especially when you get to that 30-minute plus mark where stray quadra kills and pentakills start arriving. So definitely worth some respect. And a good jungle ban coming out for Sneaky as well. Very, very proficient on that Sejuani. Really good pick for the team as a whole as well. So definitely a good ban. And not only with the jungle ban, but the first pick Nocturne.
that is psychopathic. I'm not gonna lie. Almost as psychopathic as the first pick Garen, but
This man don't fear nothing.
that honestly might be a flex pick because Garen mid lane does pretty well into anything that's a mage. He just runs them out of mana and then he just runs them down.
Oh, and something I didn't even notice about the first half of the draft. Why did Jinx actually just got left up? One of his go-to picks in the tournament. And we're seeing more unnecessary blind picks, I think. Low key, I know Silas is supposed to be a steal, but
Do things in order challenge impossible. Understandable. It looks,
all right. So it looks like it wasn't a blind pick, Garen.
yeah.
Ren just fumbled again. You know what's crazy about that? I was in a voice call with Ren like 20 minutes ago. Oh, maybe a little longer, 30 minutes ago. It was like right before I turned the stream on. And you know what I said right before he signed off? I said, "You're going to recreate the draft, right?" He's like, "Oh, yeah." And he started laughing. And Wydid was in the same call. So I was like, "Y'all are going to recreate the draft, right?" And he's like, yeah, we'll make sure.
My man
This-
graduated from IDC college.
This guy.
It just is what it is. It does not
Shit.
give a damn. It's just Ren.
It's just Ren. We all told him not to.
It do be like
so
that.
so it sounds like the Garen.
Interesting Caitlyn ban when the 80 carry was already picked, but again, that probably has to do with the draft being out of order, right?
Yeah, so they said everything is shifted up one. So that, well, no, because if everything is shifted up one, that would mean that the Jinx was supposed to be the first pick.
I mean, that makes sense because it wasn't banned on the first rotation, so it's just
Honestly, I bet those two picks are for the mid lane. Because like we were talking about earlier, Ava is really proficient in those like mid lane ADC picks. So something like Ezreal is actually something he's proficient in. I'm not really sure about the Caitlyn pick. I guess they're just afraid of like a lethality mid lane Caitlyn. As someone who has practiced it quite a lot in the past couple of weeks or months, I can tell you that it is viable. I would not say that it's good. I don't think it's worth a ban. I would rather be banning out something like Corki than Caitlyn, but
something that's a little bit you might not be considering. It's just like the lane priority of the character.
True.
Like, there's not that many champions that can outrange a Caitlyn outside from like a level 16 Jinx with maxed Q or level 14 Tristana because of her passive. And maybe a Syndra EQ could outrange her, but then at that point, Syndra's kind of out of abilities for damage, so you don't really want to walk up anyway, right? So it might just be we know he plays it, he has played it before, or people just don't want to deal with it at all. Because I know that thing shuts things down in the bot lane as well.
Yeah. Now, we already have what I would consider to be some really interesting picks if everything is getting locked in, as I'm assuming it is. So we have the Nocturne being pivoted towards mid lane to go against the Samira, who was picked from Team Camp Autumn. The Garen was supposed to be last pick, so I'm assuming the Garen was being used on the red side as a counter to Renekton, which would make sense.
It does, and I did play a couple games with Ava. He did play the Samira, and I can confirm that he did pop off.
And we have some verification in the chat that he has played Caitlyn mid in scrims before, so Yeah, I guess he's just accepted that mages are just not worth his time in this meta. He's already an ADC main. Why not just utilize those skills and proficiencies and just go straight into the mid lane with those same picks?
Hit their spikes earlier, a little bit more gold, a decent amount more experience. Instead of being like 2, 3 levels down, he's gonna be on par.
Yeah, what I am kind of scared of as far as the bot lane picks are concerned is the Kog'Maw. I know the Kog'Maw is meant to be a late game scaler, so it's supposed to kind of match the passive play style that Whited tends to use. It's good at tank busting, but likely when this Kog'Maw was picked, Garen wasn't even selected yet, which means we were picking Kog'Maw into Samira, Jinx, Lulu. That sounds like suicide. Sure, you can melt the Maokai, but like, at what cost? If you get to him.
This might be one of those angles where it's like, I'm gonna trust the Silas Renekton and the Nocturne to somehow pop one of those AD carries so that I don't gotta deal with them in the team fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Cog is the pick here. I don't know what else you could really do with Nami. You banned out the Ezreal, so you don't really get the safe pick with that. Lucian's pretty hard nerfed right now, so he's not worth playing. Nor would I really want to like lane check something like that. I just feel like there are better scalar ADCs. I guess Ashe was banned. Jinx is taken. Zeri's banned. Yeah, I mean,
So
even
it's
Smolder
Twitch.
would have been fine. Like,
Uh,
Smolder does well in a Jinx. It's really easy to land your ultimate and your E because she has no mobility whatsoever.
maybe it's just not in
Uh,
Surge's channel.
or honestly, what I would love to see, I don't know if Surge plays this or not, but Draven would actually go pretty hard. I don't know about Draven Nami necessarily, but like Draven as a champion into Jinx is like game over. One kill and it's lights out. And Kenda
Yeah,
is a
but
very good jungler. It was pointed out in chat earlier, and I kind of agree that he's probably going to be pathing bot side. So start the top side, path bot side. If you had something like a Draven, you could capitalize on that gank and just cash in a huge amount of gold. Like, I think that would have been really, really good for them. We're getting the game loaded up right now. But yeah, this is like a lot of the games that we see, very feast or famine type game. You know, if we see the Samira fall behind, I think we see the Samira fall out entirely. If we see Kog'Maw fall behind, if we see him fall out entirely, the only champions that I really think are kind of good to go in a lot of ways, Jinx will forever be relevant. Even Samira, to a degree, will forever be relevant. She does scale pretty well. I just find that she doesn't really have a lot of setup from her team. Maokai can set up stuff. I feel like Renekton and Garen both can fall off if they get too far behind. We've seen Giga's Renekton last weekend when they played against, was it Moist Chalupas? I think. No, it wasn't Moist Chalupas. It was Gangspank. Right? Am I trolling? Who did they play? All right. We'll get it loaded up here. And it actually is a pivot, not of champions, but of players. I didn't even notice this in the loading screen, but Chronic has Smite. Chronic is going in the jungle. They're moving Kenda to the mid lane to deal with Satchel's Samira. You know, I don't know if Silas does well into Samira. I don't think he does. I mean, I guess he's just like any other assassin. You just might be able to just all in. Something that is relevant for this Samira mid is the Doran's Blade nerf, which is very relevant to speak of, especially for an all-in champion like Silas. You have 20 less health, and you have, I think it's 2.5% less healing. 3% lifesteal. Maybe it wasn't 2.5. That sounds pretty drastic.
no, I think the lifesteal on it is like 3% on D Blade.
Yeah, I know the health got
instead of
nerfed
5.
by like 20 health. The life still got nerfed. I just don't remember
Yeah,
the
I think it
exact
was like
number.
about 1% that was shaved off.
Maybe it was only 1%. 2.5 would be pretty drastic.
Yeah. Also, I had technical difficulties for a little bit there. My mic and half my computer was not working.
Oh, that's not good at all.
Yeah, it looks like it's gotten resolved. I might need to replace my motherboard soon.
Oh,
Some of the ports are starting to fail, and I'm pretty sure Silas does lose to Samira up until level 3. The only thing that Samira needs to do is use her wind wall on the second chain. And then if she's able to do that, I'm pretty sure she just wins the trade hard. Because she does have the Conqueror
yeah.
that she can stack faster than the Silas, I think.
Yeah, the big thing is the battle spell for mid lane as well. Ava deciding to take barrier. Oh, that tower shot actually just kind of ruined that entire trade. But yeah, the barrier is actually pretty relevant as far as all inning goes. So Kenda having to be pretty careful in these first few levels, not trying to bite off too much. But he does have TP, and I think overall TP is definitely a better mid lane battle spell, which sounds really ironic enough. Because if your opponent doesn't have the ability to full all in you, and in mid lane it's harder to do because the lane is so short, you actually can just walk away from a trade with like 100 health, take a quick recall, and then TP right back to lane. And if your opponent doesn't have a TP to kind of match that tempo, you basically just get a whole separate health bar. We see Chronic coming in for the gank right out the gate. Ava's going to use his E to flash away as well. He's clearing out a lot of distance, procs the Conqueror, but he's not going to be able to do much with it afterwards. Really, really good maneuverability from this Samira in the middle lane. If you saw that, he doubled back into the minions a little bit to use them as an E out.
Yes. Still had a bullet splash.
Maokai's coming
really
around
hurt
for
him.
Kenda as well. Kenda really wants this kill. Flash forward from Sneaky. He's going to be able to knock him back straight into the Samira. That's first blood picking up. He's going to be able to TP back to the mid lane after that, but man, that is not where you want it to be. I've seen games after games where a single kill gets turned into a double kill, into 4 kills, into 6 kills from Ava's mid lane ADC picks.
And for this team specifically for Camp Autumn, they are semi-notorious for having a terrible early game. Either they go even or they lose. They're not usually on the driver's seat. But when they are in the driver's seat, the games aren't very winnable from the other team's perspective.
Yeah, I also thought it was funny watching Sneaky kind of steal one of Second Hero's famous Maokai strategies. Anytime Second Hero is playing Maokai, the dude loves nothing more than to flash into the root. The gap closing, I guess it just feels powerful. It's really hard to react to. But there are definitely some ganks that I've seen from Second Hero where I've seen him flash and I was like, that just wasn't necessary. You just wanted to do it. And so I hope Sneaky... that one I do think was very relevant for Sneaky. I think Kendo would have been able to just walk away and dash his way out. Or even flash out, really. But, in general, I hope Sneaky's not burning these flashes unnecessarily in the future. But good first blood. That's all that matters. And, yeah, serrated Dirk right out the gate. We're not even 5 minutes into this game. That is a very scary first recall.
Sorry, Dirk into an Amtome. Kenda's not really going to be able to fight back much at all.
Nope, and that barrier still hasn't been procced either. Yeah, they're not taking that trade. Good poke coming out from Surge. As Whited is going to try to poke back a little bit here. But he's going to have to recall here eventually. Maybe waits for a cannon wave if he's trying to maintain some CS advantage. But he's actually down 2 waves. Down a wave. But... here comes Sneaky going in on the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw's trying to take a little bit of damage back. He's not going to be able to get much out of it, though, as Luna's trying to keep him alive, body blocking for him, but I don't know if Surge is walking away from this one. Zap comes out from the Jinx. Sneaky's going to be able to pick up that kill, and Luna is too far ahead. She needs to U-turn around. Kog'Maw gets the kill after Jinx falls over to the minions. His passive's not going to be able to pick up Sneaky, and in the top lane, Giga's going to TP back up, do a little bit of a trade, try to get these minions cleaned up under his tower.
A little bit of a greedy misplay on Sneaky there. He could have opted to Q the Kog'Maw into the Jinx traps to enable a snare for even longer CC chain, but he queued the Kog'Maw into the tower, or rather closer to the lane to let him get out. If he had just snared it with the Jinx traps. English is hard today. If he had snared the Kog'Maw with the Jinx traps, the Jinx would have been able to just completely destroy the Kog'Maw without much fear of retaliation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have needed to go 1-for-1 there.
Well, I also don't think that there was a reason to hold barrier. I think Whitehead was pretty greedy on that, like just actively letting himself die to minions for no reason.
Very true. I didn't even notice he didn't use it.
Yeah, no, I think he thought he was going to be fine walking into the bush, but there was still some caster attacks. Oh, we see a quick trade. Sneaky's in the back line. He's already under half health, though. I don't know if he wants the fight. Giga still has ultimate. He wastes the Q with the empowered Q. Yeah, I guess he is going to have to walk away on that one. Sneaky's actually pretty far down in CS right now. I imagine Chronic is going to be hitting 6 here very soon. And so that's going to be something very relevant, especially for Satchel in the mid lane, our Samira Ava. He's going to have to be careful. Jinx is also going to be very terrified of this Nocturne. Although right now playing under tower, she should be fine. But definitely something to keep in mind as this Nocturne is hitting 6, that now the lights can turn out and a fight can easily turn from a winning fight to a losing fight within the span of a half second.
Resources on red side seem to be a little bit low in terms of health. Mid and bot could be free ganks for Chronic once his R is up and available.
Yeah, Chronic has ult, and Whitehead is currently under under like a 8th health. He's super, super low. These Nami empowered ultimates coming out from Surge is actually really putting out the work. Had to force out Whitehead's barrier from the looks of it too.
I think that's a solo.
Oh,
no, flash.
Flash
Yeah.
for flash. No, don't go back in.
The phase rush technology
Ren,
coming
just
in
recall.
him, and he is throwing his life away.
Why is he taking so long to recall? He's not actually convincing himself that he can go back in on that fight, right? Surely not.
Sure. Oh man. A series of decisions.
Yeah, looks like Maokai's coming in towards the bottom side of the map. Ultimate comes out. Surge gets zapped up, and he's going to get snared as well. Luna misses the bubble. Is going to be able to get the ultimate off on him, and Surge is just going to try to take some damage out on Whitehead. Hopes his passive is going to be enough, but the Jinx passive is able to juke him, break his ankles. That is another kill going over for Camp Autumn.
This is not looking so great for blue side.
Yeah, they're up in gold so far, but it's really just from the top lane alone. We can take a tab over really quick. Yeah, almost a 800 gold lead in top lane, but every other lane is... Well, actually, bot lane is up 200 gold. Wonder... Oh, I guess the 2 power plates.
Yeah. Also, Maokai having a lead on the power farming Nocturne feels bad.
Yeah, well, he's just got a kill and 2 assists, and it starts to add up pretty quickly. But I do believe that we're going to see Chronic hit ultimate here very soon. Maybe not straight on the full health. Oh, no, he is going to do it straight on the full health. He just goes for it. Kenda's going to be able to get some stuns off. Barrier comes out, but I think they're going to have the burst for this. Chronic has to flash away. Oh, my word.
The greed.
I'm not opposed to going for the kill on the Samira, but I am opposed to going for the kill on the full health Samira.
Yeah, going in like a psychopath against a player that you should be respecting at least a little bit. Not the wisest decision.
Yeah, I mean, because even something as simple as you have to kill her before your fear finishes. You really do. Because otherwise she'll just conquer or heal back everything, which is exactly what we just saw. And now Ava is just at an astronomical lead. 3 kills up, 30 CS up, 3 plates up. Just full collector at this point. We're 10 minutes into the game.
Gonna make the dangerous game that Silas likes to play even more dangerous with that collector, because Silas has % missing health bonus healing, so like the lower he is, the more health he gets back. But with the collector, you generally don't want to be low at all against that monstrosity.
Yep, and we're seeing a Grubs contest coming up from the top side of the map. Kenda is able to steal out Garen's ultimate, and he's putting up a lot of pressure in on the jungler. Sneaky doesn't want to back up, and second hero is almost dead. And yep, they're going to be able to take the last grub. Deny at least a little bit. I don't think any summoners were burned there. Oh, no, Sneaky had to flash. Maokai did have to flash on that one.
I mean, now that he has his ultimate, the flash isn't as needed as it was earlier to pull off a gank.
Oh. Yep. And Surge using the attack range on this Kog'Maw, just take up another plate. I really like the how the Kog'Maw's being used in the lane. Maybe I underestimated the early game damage that Kog'Maw has. I think the Nami's been really useful as well, especially after level 6. When they start getting low on health, I'm watching the E-empowered ultimates just shred those health bars. And so maybe there's more synergy behind these two than I thought.
The dichotomy of you saying that and watching Luna just sit in the minion wave do nothing is hilarious.
Oh, we see Ava moving his way down towards the bot lane of the map. Let's see if the bot lane's able to pick it up. They have the ward up. He's going in. Luna dodges the zap. But meanwhile, in the top lane, Chronic's going in on second hero. Garen is going to take up a lot of damage here. Is he going to be able to make it out? Not quite. Giga's going to be able to dash forward on the Renekton to pick up a kill. And it looks like the bot lane was able to escape. Tenda doing a good job at taking out a couple plates in the process. If he can get 2 plates, that's worth a kill outright. Actually, we'll lift a little bit more.
Very peculiar build itemization here coming from the Garen. I think that's going to become a Titanic with a Trinity. I think.
Well, I know the what is that, Phage? What do they call this? Yeah, Phage is probably just purely for the movement speed. Oh, Ken is going in on Satchel, taking a little bit of an extended trade, but it worked out for him. So, good job not overcommitting. Once the spells are on cooldown, just back off for a little bit. But yeah, I'm guessing the Phage is purely for the movement speed because I believe it procs off the Garen E. Or maybe he is building Stride. Maybe he is building Stridebreaker.
Oh yeah, that I forgot about that item. The item does build out of Tiamat. I was very confused for a second. I couldn't think of any reason for him to be building it. Gosh, I'm still like in brain rot mode.
Yeah, but the Phage actually makes it to where his necessity to build boots actually isn't that high right now. He's got his Q movement speed to escape. He's got his E movement speed with the passive to get engaged. So he's actually not, and he's got Phase Rush. He actually kind of gets to save some early game gold for a little bit. And, not wasted on the tier 2 boots for now. At some point, it's just not, it's worth your gold to buy the tier 2 boots for the stats that it gives, but able to expedite his first item maybe. Giga's already on that Eclipse, which is kind of scary, so maybe Ren's sitting on a lot of gold. No. If anything, Samira is sitting on a lot of gold. Yeah. Almost 1,800. Chronic in the same boat with this Nocturne, sitting on 1,500. That is probably a full finished item for Chronic as well, who also has a Tiamat. I'm not really sure. He's not going Ravenous, surely, but
he could be going for the lethality one. I forget what it's called.
Is there a lethality one that builds out of Tiamat?
Yeah, Tiamat Brutalizer.
Does Brutalizer build out of Tiamat?
No, it builds out of a pickaxe and something else. But it's Profane Hydra. There you go.
Oh yes, true. Oh, the Samira ultimate did literally nothing.
That is actually depression.
Chronic's going to turn out the lights as Garen's going in as well with Giga. That is a 3v3, but the Jinx ult goes a little bit wide. It's not going to matter, though, as they're going to clean up a double kill for Ava and a single kill for second hero in the top lane. This Collector is really putting in work. And I think a lot of that actually came from the fact that that stolen Samira ult just actually did nothing.
Definitely. That was just sad.
Oh, Whitehead's getting a little bit caught out here. Ludol's going to be able to come in and save him from getting too risky. He also has the barrier, so probably wasn't at risk of dying outright. But that is going to be a lot of health that he's taken out for it. Now he's in a dangerous spot because now Kog'Maw gets to start shooting those E-empowered artilleries under the tower, which means if he's not playing his cards right and juking left and right, he could actually find himself just dying to a stray hit.
Speaking of.
Yeah. Surge doing a good job at just poking out a little bit. Somehow not in tower range after that. And Whited just going to respect the whole thing. Just back out outright. And Autumn's going to follow up. Just give the tower. We're 16 minutes in. There's no need to try to hold the tower. Oh, but second hero disagrees. He TP's down to guard it. Meanwhile, Kenda is going to steal the Samira ult. And he's not going to be able to out-damage her one-on-one. That's another kill going over Vrava's Samira. Meanwhile, flash forward from Sneaky and from Kog'Maw trying to get out of there. As Kog'Maw's trying to kite it out a little bit. And, yeah, that's going to be the end of that fight. I'm not really sure why we TP'd bot lane just to save a tower, but...
Not entirely sure either.
I mean, I guess it worked, so... You know.
I mean, worked is very subjective of a statement. I don't really think much was gained here aside from just burning a TP.
Yeah, you force the Kog'Maw to recall. You force Renekton to come match you in the bot lane, which gives Satchel the ability to take top tower after winning his 1-1 with Kenda. But Kenda didn't have to take that fight, I don't think. So what was the plan if Kenda just decided to, you know, ignore Ava and just wave clear under tower? Or try to wave clear. I don't actually know how well Sylas can wave clear. With only a Lich Bane, probably not that well.
No.
Ooh, good bubble from Luna, making
nice
sure Ava doesn't get to just get engaged for free. We see the Nocturne ult coming out. They're going to be able to take this fight. Gets knocked up, and the shutdown gold goes over to Surge on the Kog'Maw. That's probably one of the best team players on the team that can get it. If that Kog'Maw gets ahead, it is going to be a scary fight. Meanwhile, Surge is going to be running down Whited on Jinx now. Lulu ult's going to come out to try to keep him alive. Kenda's being able to steal anything, but he's not going to find it. Whited is going back to base yet again. This is the Jinx that never dies. Ooh, ult comes out.
Yet somehow finds angles for assists.
Yep. Kenda's tanking it up, and Sneaky's going to get caught out by some chains. That's going to be another kill going over to Tilted Tater Tots. Giga in the top lane taking that one on his Renekton, while second hero is pushing the bot tower. You know, this is what I was talking about, you know, we see like the bottom tier team and the top tier team, and you kind of just assume it's going to be a wash. And don't get me wrong, this Samira is very, very fed. But the Tilted Tater Tots are still putting up one heck of a fight. We're only sitting at about 2K difference, so not that much in terms of team gold is concerned. We see this Renekton just an absolute terror in these fights. Chronic doing a really good job at engaging in on these picks when he can see them. In this Kog'Maw, I got to give my biggest apologies to Surge's Kog'Maw right now. I doubted the thing a little too hard. Giga goes forward with a little bit of a double dash. Luna's a little slow on the bubble, though, not going to be able to change CC. And Ava is going to be able to whip out the ultimate and dance around. What is this, like Crescent Dance or something? Not even close. Inferno Trigger.
No, Inferno Trigger. Something about that weird skirmish that happened earlier that caused Ava to die. He didn't use his barrier.
True.
Granted, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but he does still have it up.
That is definitely relevant for future fights. And we see another engage going in on the second hero's Garen. He's trying to run away. Kog'Maw actually has so much damage, and Nami's going to be able to pick that one up. I'm guessing a stray W perhaps. Kenda actually stealing Jinx's ultimate, the Super Mega Death Rocket. Not going to be too relevant, I don't think, unless they can find another engage. But you can always shoot it for some vision.
Budget hawk shot.
I would argue that is a overly expensive hawk shot. That is name brand. Now they're going to be able to get a little bit of an engage on Satchel. Ultimate comes out. He's got so much damage and healing. Kog'Maw's going to be able to pick up the kill, though. He's got a good front line with Renekton in the front with his ultimate going off. Giga dashes forward. He's going to find the stun on Whited. There he is. Surge is a little too far back, though. He's struggling to be able to catch up. He doesn't have Ghost to catch up either. As Whited's just going to back away. Once again, the guy that never dies.
Honestly, playing these team fights is going to be very rough, looking at the amount of CC on that blue team. They've got a fear, stun, knock-up, 2 knock-ups on the fish.
What is this called? Paranoia. I'm like learning these ultimates right now. Dominus? I feel like I've heard that before. LCS says that a lot.
Wizard lizard.
I'm trying to picture like what is like when you hear like Captain Flowers like casting and he's like actually using the real in-game names. I'm like, what sounds correct? Pops the Dominus sounds correct. It just sounds like something I've heard before.
I feel like you'd say unleashes over pops.
Unleashes the Dominus.
Yeah. Dominus just has that ring to it that sounds a lot more vicious. Pop is like, I think of bubble wrap when you say pop.
I don't know. When I think of pop, I mean like I think of like using a button very very quickly. But I guess it's just where your head's at with it.
True.
What I am enjoying is this Kog'Maw who is currently working on the third item. We have the Navori Quick Blades and the Bork. Bork is I don't know if that's still the correct first build. I guess it is because Kog'Maw makes really good use of the attack speed and the movement speed buff that comes with it. But I know Bork just got nerfed, and so it's a little less viable, which is unfortunate because Kog'Maw was already not a super viable champion in the first place. So
very true.
Having his first item nerfed just is a little salt in the wound.
It does still synergize really well with him though, because his W does percentage health damage as well. So just having 2 instances of percentage health damage just makes him, instead of needing to like, it's not a question of if he can kill you, it's a question of can you survive long enough to kill him before he kills you, type of deal. Kind of like shortens that like bubble, that like time frame that he needs to take you down. Kind of like with Vayne and Rageblade.
Oh, Kendo's first chains go a little bit wide. The fear comes out on second hero. He's just going to have to flash away. I feel like if we had had a little bit more patience on the chains, we could have waited for the fear and then gone in, but opted not to.
Free Baron.
Really wanted to just get on top of second hero's head, and yeah, that is going to be a free Baron. You just showed your jungler ulting top bot side, so there's not much you can do about that. Unleashes the Dominus, but Giga's going to get bursted down anyway. Satchel goes flying in. That is so much pressure coming in from this Infinity Edge Collector Samira. It is going to dissuade them from finishing off the Baron, as Chronic has finally made his way up to the top side. And Ava is way too low on health to continue fighting.
These fights are over just as fast as they're started. It's actually insane. Because Giga has durability items, but he just pops.
Yeah, this is yeah, well, he's working on armor right now, which is good. But it's also, I don't know if it's too late necessarily. But it is definitely something I would have liked to see a little earlier. Maybe he was trying to just go for the one-shot burst. Because they do actually have a surprising amount of CC on their team comp. They have the Fear from Nocturne. They have the Stun from Renekton. They have Stun from Sylas. They have Bubbles and Ultimates Ultimate Waves. What Tidal Wave? Is this what it's called? Yeah. Tidal Wave coming out from Nami. So they actually have the ability to chain CC very, very well. We see Giga go in a little bit. He's going to be able to take an Empowered Q and a stun off. And that's all he's going to want. As soon as that Conqueror is stacked up, he's walking away. Smart boy.
I think I'd rather have seen him buy a Dead Stance over a Warden's Mail if he needed armor. Because now his team is not necessarily in a position where they can give up the damage that he was putting out. Because Kog'Maw still doesn't have his full completed build that's going to enable him to be a true terror rat. But also he does need the durability because he does pop way too fast.
A good shutdown goes over to Chronix on the Nocturne. They give away another dragon. That puts the Camp Autumn on Soul Point. And they have this bottom side lit up like a Christmas tree. Good Lord, look at those wards.
Beautiful.
And they're rotating up. Maokai pops the ultimate. Garen looks like he's been able to... What? No? I thought for some reason Giga was on the Baron, but he was recalled, so... What was the ult for? Were they trying to stop the recall, maybe?
Maybe they thought that they were on it. Because they did just kill Satchel. True. But I think resetting was the right play there. Getting like a 700 gold injection and not spending the money seems kind of grief.
That is certainly a little interesting.
Honestly, with the way that Rin has been playing this game, I think he would have been better off with a hull breaker.
True. I was thinking the similar thing. He's like, every time we see one of these fights go in the favor of tilted tater tots, I look down on the mini map and see that Ren's taking a tower.
Yeah.
Oh, Kenda's moving forward. Flashes forward, gets one chain off, steals the ultimate. I don't know if he's going to be able to get back in range. Giga's waiting for the dash stun to try to come back up. He gets that. Kenda goes forward, tries the ultimate out. He's going to get locked up under tower. He's using the Zhonya's to try to stall, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Super Mega Death Rocket comes in from the back line as Ava is cleaning it up. Zap comes in on Giga. He's going to go down. That is a double kill for Satchel's Ava Zamira. Oh, my word. Yeah, that is.
Put him well on his way in completing that fourth item. There's not much you're going to be able to do against a 100% crit chance Samira, man.
This Samira is almost double the gold of this Silas. 14,000 to about 8,000. As Tidal Wave comes in, Chronic pops the Paranoia. He's flying in. They're going to try to burst down. Kog'Maw has lots of damage in the back line, but oh my god.
It's looking kind of doomed for blue side, I'm going to be real.
This Inferno trigger is just nasty. And with the shield bow too, the healing is so much higher now. We're past the Conqueror points. We're in full-on drain tank vibes. Oh my goodness. Giga, please take him down. Show that this god can bleed. Sneaky backs him up. He unleashes the Dominus. Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown. And Ava's going to get another kill with a Q.
You hate to see it.
The 9 assist Jinx. And just like we were talking about, even when there's a slight victory, second hero is in the side lanes just taking a tower. Chronic can try to chase him down, but I don't think he's going to be able to get much out of this. Well, we went from a close game to anything but. We are 11k gold down. And I believe almost all of that is in this Samira. Now we are officially over double the amount of gold from Silas to Samira. 17,000 to 8,000.
You know, despite having a very rough laning phase, Whited is doing a pretty good job at keeping up with the Kog'Maw's gold.
True. Pretty much dead even. Up a little bit of gold,
ahead.
but I would argue a lot of that gold is from the getting assists from his super fed mid laner rather than him just like outplaying or outmaneuvering around the map. We have 30 CS, so maybe so. I think it's hard to compete with a lot of the plates that Kog'Maw got early. Luna's getting taken down by second heroes engage. They're not done yet. Maokai ult is being stolen out by Kenda Silas, trying to use it to dissuade them from going forward. But they're going to be able to take that Baron into the inhib very easily. And I think this is going to be the end of the game. There's not much that Tilted Tater Tots can do to stop this engage. Jinx is going to get excited to take these towers down. They can try to take the fight here, but there's not really much success. Yeah, Giga's alone in that endeavor. And
It's just a cleanup.
Yep. Final score of 19, 3, and 5 from this Samira. And they are attempting to dive the Nami. Second hero giving up his KDA for a little bit of taste of glory.
Samira does go for a literal blunder.
Well, we'll see if we can get the poll going really quick.
Satchel did more damage than everyone else on his team combined.
That is actually not okay.
Interview Ray.
All right, and the poll is up. You guys let me know who you want to try to drag in for a quick interview. Before we move on to the second match that Camp Autumn is actually going to play here tonight, the VOD playback of their match from last night.
So when you get a chance, bring Joey in here.
Oh,
it sounds like he's ready. He's available.
Yes, he is. Is he even in a call anywhere? I don't see him.
Oh, he's in sourdough.
There he is. What's up, man?
Damn it.
All right. Looks like we have a tie for second hero in Whited. And considering that we've already had Whited interviewed before, let's see if we can get second hero in here.
So you're in here. Even Otto said red. I agree. It's just time to shine.
We'll see if we can get our team captain to finally come take an interview.
After being the heaviest weight on his team nearly every game, it's fine.
All right. He's down. Oh,
he's like Rock Lee's training weight when he fights Kara.
I misclicked.
There we go.
Hello. I forgot how we were gonna get the freaking Weeb chat and the live on stream. That's crazy.
Yes, I have the Weeb chat intro. I'm Garen. I spin.
But yeah, man. Hey, congratulations to Camp Autumn once again completing another victory screen.
Yeah.
What are y'all thoughts coming out of that game? You know.
Yeah. So I think we just kind of we played some pretty standard laning, but I think one of the cool things here is that the enemy team seemed to be drafting around, guesses as to what we were going to be putting mid and jungle because of our ADC pick. So they gave us the ADC pick, and then they had some counter picks planned for some things that they thought we would draft. And we drafted completely different champs in all 4 roles than what they thought we were going to get. So just made for a much harder game, I think, than what they intended they were going to get.
Yeah, something that I thought was kind of crazy was that they left up Whited Jinx, which is kind of notoriously known as his main, his kind of go-to pick. But it didn't really seem all that relevant. I thought Surge did a really good job at using the Kog'Maw to kind of pressure him out, outranging him, and just kind of poking him out of lane. What did, I wouldn't say shocked me, but I did think was a power move that worked out in y'all's favor was very obviously Ava on Samira.
Yeah. And I guess just to kind of talk about that a little bit. So when we saw the Kog'Maw come down, we knew that we needed to get Lulu away from Luna because we think that she's pretty powerful on that champion. And then Melio obviously being the next pick. So that's why we immediately slammed the ban for that after we did the Lulu pick. So we're trying to do everything we could to just keep the Kog'Maw from having one of the 2 premier supports. And then we had, obviously, Luna still played very well with the Nami, and Kog'Maw and Nami in lane were just very punishing for Jinx. And I think that part of their plan went very well, where they were able to zone off Jinx from being able to really like pop off or do anything, especially with the Nocturne engage or Sylas being able to steal Maokai ult. But I think that they were guessing that I was going to probably be taking the Maokai top and then picking the Renekton as a counter to that. And then you got, obviously Sylas to steal it, but kind of Garen being a lane break, and then we rotated the Maokai into Woods, pretty powerful, and that kind of also enabled the Samira. I think they were more of expecting something like a Kaisa or a Victor or something like that mid, like an immobile mage. So pivoting into an double ADC comp seemed to be very powerful there.
Yeah, I will say not too surprising from what we've seen so far. I haven't gotten to check out every match you guys have played, but everyone you've been featured on stream, and even the game that you played against us, I guess it was featured on stream, is we've only seen Ava play ADCs in the mid lane. We've seen Ezreal, we've seen Zeri, now we've seen Samira, we saw the attempt at Aphelios, so I've just kind of accepted that the man is just done with mages.
We are in a double triple ADC meta, but
They'll say they need to make a resurgence. Time for
the
the
cool thing
page
is,
to rise up.
yeah, I mean the cool thing is
Sounds like
that
Silas.
you know we're not just limited to ADCs or mages or any specific type of comp. We don't have to play around bot. We don't have to play around mid. And as long as we kind of can keep tempo and like keep some control of the draft, so far we've been able to find a lot of success with that. So very big kudos to my team, and I definitely think throughout the course of this tournament, from the beginning when we were practicing and just scrimming against random teams all the way up until now, big shout out to both Autumn and Sneaky for constantly improving their gameplay, getting better and better, and like especially the teamwork with Autumn and Whited in the bot lane. Uh, some of the people we were scrimming against thought she was just straight up smurfing. But one day she'll get the silver. I swear, guys.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that was something we were talking about going into the game as well. We noticed she was bronze too, and I'm pretty sure she started the season off in iron. And so we
Yes,
were already
yeah.
talking about like she's clearly improving, like not just as a team, but like on her own solo queue as well. Going from a whole division up, even if she was Iron 1, that's Bronze 2 is a whole division up. That is a huge improvement right out the gate. On top of the team synergy and adjusting to comms and things like that. So yeah, huge shout out to Autumn. That was something we were talking about earlier. Definitely worth bringing up again.
Yeah. And I think overall, one of the other things is that for just her progress, she started out at the very start of this tournament. She was in Iron Division 3, and then she moved up from Iron Division 3 to 1, kind of fell back to 4, and then she's kind of been on the climb since. So Bronze 2 now, which is, like I said, incredible. And just her teamwork with Whited and the team is just really good. And I can't shout down Sneaky either, because he's not really a player that plays a lot of ranked, but man's absolutely popping off and doing everything he can to kind of structure our team for success in these games, game after game.
Yeah, well, and we've seen he's threatening too. The Sejuani ban this is not the first time we've seen it come out, and it probably won't be the last either going into playoffs. So definitely showing out some respect for our scary junglers who have that strong gank potential and team fighting gauge as well. Definitely something worth noting.
Yeah. So, pretty good stuff. Looking forward to what we're going to be doing once we hit our elimination rounds. So, best 2 out of 3s are coming up. Best 3 out of 5s if we can make it all the way to the finals. Hoping we do. So I'm looking forward to the team continuing to improve and show crazy drafts and crazy rotations away from champions that people expect us to play into stuff that maybe is a little unexpected.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing some ankles getting broken too. It's just entertaining to watch those on stream. Like even in this game, the Nocturne and the Silas, we were thinking it was going to be Nocturne mid for a little bit with Silas jungle. Then when we found out that as we loaded in the game, it was actually not a role swap, or it was a role swap, not a champion swap.
Yep.
So even things like that, we're like, we think that we're trying to be one step ahead, and we're really 2 steps back.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, just overall, all the competitors throughout this thing have, people have really surprised me, whether it be like some of these top lane matchups that are really tough. Like there were points in this game where like Giga was like 30 CS on me. Just really super safe, perfect rotations on things. Chronic did some really good ganks, especially in the lane phase. Yeah, so I mean, it's not just our team that's improving, it's everybody across the board. I really like to see that, and I like to see people scrimming and, just improving. That's kind of the whole idea of the whole tournament thing in the first place. So I hope more people continue to enjoy it, enjoy the stream, and, get more involved, and just maybe for our next tournament, consider popping in and making a team or joining one. It's a lot of fun.
Oh,
So.
for sure. Well, while we got the lovely team captain in for his team, we're about to play back, as I'm sure you know, we're about to play back the VOD of your game from last night. Now, obviously, I don't want you to spoil the results of the game, but since we aren't going to get a chance to look at Champ Select, why don't you show us or talk to us a little bit about what you and Jan Guard kind of handshook going into this next game that we're about to watch?
Yeah, so we kind of treated this game as a bit of a exhibition match. Obviously, one of our team members is a huge fan of T1. It's his
You
favorite
say
esports
one of our
team.
team members. Look at the end screen. Who's the one looking at the
I wonder
T1
who it
team?
could be.
I wonder who it could be.
It's a
Um,
real mystery, I swear.
Yeah, so we kind of had a bit of a gentleman's agreement that they could draft anything they wanted, they could pick anything they wanted, but they couldn't ban any of the five T1 champions uh, for this particular game, and we'd all be playing the new T1 skins that just released on this patch. So kind of a little bit of a risk since not all of our players play those as our most adept champions.
Oh,
And
jeez. Oh, sorry, I sneezed. I love
as
you, buddy, but
yeah, so we're obviously not an esports team, and our level of execution isn't as cool as Faker and Pals, but we tried to put on a good show, and we went along with what our teammate requested. So um, that's I guess that's the best way to frame it. So that was the handshake. We did still get to do bans, but they already knew exactly what we were going to be picking. They didn't know who was going to be picking what or where those characters were going to go, but they knew what the five champs would be, so they drafted accordingly.
Okay. Well, once again, we're not going to get to look at Champ Select. So, real quick, what were some of the bands that you guys planned on throwing out, at least in the front half? Well, you don't have to talk about the rest, but is there any one or two champions that you guys knew going in, we have to get rid of this? There's no way we're playing against that.
Yeah, so it's kind of a bit of a funny one. We were guessing it like, okay, so what kind of gameplay could we see out of this team, given that they know exactly what we're going to be playing for this one, and so um, the way that we approached our drafting was we knew that odds are we were going to be seeing something like a Rammus or Malphite as a counter to Jace. We guessed that there might be something like a Cinna as a counter to Bard, since she does really well into Bard. And we picked some core bands around some of the skirmishing options that we knew the other team had, like Viego um, and Mordekaiser, that could like really single out some of our DPS in the team and just kind of make things really rough for us, as well as getting Dr. Guillotine, which is Shu, as her changed username, off of Zeri. And then we kind of went from there. And unfortunately for us, our fears were kind of realized because they still managed to fit some of these counter picks into their draft. Spoilers abiding there. So.
All right. Well, we're going to be looking forward to that. Those of you guys who are tuning in on Twitch, don't worry. We are going to be doing this game very, very soon. We're going to take a short little break, allow both our casters and you guys in the chat go use the bathroom, get some water, do what you need to do. We'll take about 5 minutes or so. That goes for everybody currently in the call as well. If you guys need to go alleviate yourselves or do anything otherwise, we will be back in roughly 5 minutes. We'll say 7 minutes. We'll make it at a clean start time of 20 after. So, yeah, you guys enjoy yourselves. Thanks for tuning in for Game 1, and we're looking forward to the awesome feature match of Game 2. We'll see you guys in just a little bit.
Right on. See you at 20 after.